Foldable phones have been around for many years. Samsung has a bunch, Google has some, but Apple hasn't entered the space yet. And to me, the big question isn't just when they'll enter the space of foldables, but when they do, who the foldable iPhone will be for. I think we've seen many different form factors that foldables have come in so far, and there's some pretty cool stuff out there from Samsung and Huawei and other phone manufacturers as well. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going to make this iPhone Fold stand out. Let's talk about where this new iPhone would fit in the lineup and who it's actually for, and my hopes that it's not just a really expensive experiment. Hi there, I'm BobbyInBlue, and on this channel we talk about how to get the most out of your tech. So let's start off by where the iPhone Fold would fit in Apple's current lineup. Apple has a very clear ladder of devices, with the E series being the base, the 17 being kind of that snug one right in the middle that's available for most users, the Pro series phones, and then the Pro Max series phones. Each of these phones kind of has or fits a niche that's very clear in the market. It may be easy to think that the iPhone Fold, or whatever they're going to call it, so far the rumors I've heard, the one I like the most is the iPhone Duo, so we'll see how that goes. But where the iPhone Fold or Duo fits into their lineup is kind of up for debate. Many would say that it fits above the Pro Max phones as kind of an iPhone Ultra. That's another rumored name that's out there for it. But I'm not so sure. The last couple of years, the Pro series phones, and specifically the Pro Max, has kind of been the place where we're getting all of our best streams when it comes to an iPhone. The battery life is getting better. We kind of stopped focusing on it getting thinner, and we started just accepting that we were okay with the thickness that it was, and we wanted more features and better battery life way more than we wanted it to be thin. So for me, I'm not sure that this phone would fit above the Pro Max as kind of the iPhone Ultra, and I think the answer is the one iPhone that I left out of my original lineup of iPhones I just told you a second ago, and that's the iPhone Air. I think it's fair to say that the iPhone Air is kind of a precursor for the iPhone Fold. In many ways, it was like, hey, we're going to put this phone out, we're going to show you that we can do a really thin phone and show you that it can be a great phone. And so that way, if we put two of those thin phones together, that's essentially what the iPhone Fold or Duo or Ultra or whatever you want to call it is two iPhone Airs put together. But the interesting part is that no one's really thought about where the Air fits in the lineup. And for me, it fits snugly between the iPhone 17, or kind of the model for everybody, and the Pro series phones. It's got some really awesome features about it, and it's impossibly thin. Anyone who's actually used an iPhone Air as a daily driver really loves it. But I think with the iPhone Air is that many people didn't really give it a chance, especially the pro users or the people who want like the best of the best when it comes to their iPhone. They looked at the iPhone Air and they were like, yeah, that's cool that it's thin, but what about battery life? And what about cameras? And what about all these things that I've kind of come to love about having great battery life and having multiple options on my camera? So when it came time to order my iPhone, and I got up early that day because the pre-orders go active early, and I was thinking about it, I was like, why wouldn't I just get the Pro Max like I always do? And all of their latest features, they tend to put into the Pro Max. And because we've established that the Pro Max doesn't really necessarily need to be thinner, we prefer battery life and function and great cameras, I'm not sure where this iPhone Fold is gonna fit. The more rumors that I see about it, I even went as far as to 3D print a mock-up of some online CAD leaks that people have. Now we don't just have one side, we have two. So it's like we have two full iPhone Airs, which means the battery life could very well be improved and the battery could be pretty robust when it comes to this phone. But that still doesn't mean that we're gonna get all the features when it comes to the camera. For me, I love cutting edge tech and anything that's kind of new and innovative. So when people talk about folding phones, I can't tell you how many times that I've almost gone to the store and bought a Samsung device that's a foldable simply because I want to try it and see what it's like and figure it out and understand it. But the one thing that keeps me from doing that is obviously I really like and use the Apple ecosystem, so that would be a bummer. But even more than that, it doesn't seem like we have the software figured out on foldables yet. I think we have pretty good tablet experiences on iOS or Android, and I think we have great phone experiences on iOS and Android, but I don't know if any of the Samsung or Google devices has really figured out how to make the software work when it comes to a foldable yet. If the phone is folded up, it functions like a regular, bar style phone and it's great. But when you open it up, that's really when you see some of the most clunky and odd UI decisions when it comes to where things are located and how we use that additional screen real estate. So as everybody has kind of seen these CAD renders or these 3D prints of the iPhone Fold, I think the first thing that everybody says, they look at it like a traditional phone and they're like, all right, cool. Where's the rest of the phone? It's a little bit stubby. And the reason for that is all about aspect ratios, or keeping the traditional sizes of how the software is already coded. On the outside, a bunch of stuff is already coded for iOS to fit into a screen very similar in size as this. And on the inside, all of the things that we already have for the iPad is going to fit into this aspect ratio. So to get this internal aspect ratio, we also have to deal with the fact that the aspect ratio on the outside isn't going to be quite what we thought it would be. So for me, it's less about, is this going to be able to take on or replace my iPhone Pro Max, which I don't think it's going to, at least not at first. When it comes to the camera and the battery life, I still think that the iPhone Pro Max is probably again dialed in for many years, and it's going to lead when it comes to cameras and when it comes to battery. So I look at the iPhone Fold as an iPhone and an iPad mini kind of in one device, and the functionality to use iOS on the outside and essentially iPadOS on the inside. With the last couple of years of iPadOS getting more robust and the multitasking getting better and better, I think using an iPad mini with all these features is probably the best that it's been in a really long time. Some may say that the multitasking and the things that make iPadOS really cool and usable only apply to the bigger iPads. But I've been playing with an iPad mini lately and kind of visualizing how this can work and thinking about the features that I like from the multitasking. And I gotta say, the new iPadOS with the improved multitasking, and just the way that you can kind of set up your windows and things like that, I think they kind of figured it out finally. And it's finally better than it's been in a really long time. So the idea of having an iPhone on the outside and an iPad mini on the inside, that all fits in my pocket that I can choose if I want one or the other, is awesome to me. So if you happen to be an iPhone and iPad user, I think that the iPhone Fold could be really great for you and could help you not buy two devices. You could end up buying one that would end up serving as both. Something about the iPhone that's always kind of struck me as odd is, for whatever reason, I love the idea of turning it into landscape mode and being able to type and text, right? The problem with that is that once the keyboard fills the screen, there's not much area to see what you're typing. And even though it feels like it should be a great experience to kind of just like, turn it sideways and type away, it never really has been, and it comes down to real estate. But the idea of being able to open this up and use it like this opens the door for me to be able to have more real estate, to have my keyboard across, my fingertips at the bottom here, and to also be able to have more real estate at the top here to be able to see what I'm typing. So there's something to be said for kind of one side of the iPhone being for each of your hands, and it's kind of got that split keyboard feel that you can get on the iPad. Keyboard, tends to stick to these areas right here on either side, and then gives you more screen real estate so that you can see what you're typing, and it's more usable in my opinion. So who knows what will happen with the user interface and kind of how this is going to come about, but to me, the user interface is really where foldables are yet to shine. So the first generation of this iPhone Fold, I think is going to be for those tech enthusiasts that love the cutting edge and loves trying something new, and the idea of a screen that folds, can go in your pocket, but also doesn't necessarily have a crease, as all the rumors are saying. There's a creaseless folding phone technology that's coming. I think is a really intriguing place to start. Combo that with them figuring out the aspect ratio and already having so many apps that are coded for both iOS and for iPadOS, I think it's going to set Apple up to be in a really good place to give foldables a real chance to see if it's kind of the next thing that all of us want, or if it's just kind of a weird gimmicky fad. So if it does end up being like two iPhone Airs, I believe that we're going to have a fair chance of the iPhone Fold having a reasonable battery life. But what about that camera thing that we talked about? So far, all the CADs only show two different camera bumps on the back. I think it would make the most sense for these cameras to be the traditional iPhone Fusion camera that's like the 45 megapixel awesome camera, multiple lenses in one camera lens that's on the iPhone Air. But which one would the other one be? Would it be the telephoto or would it be the ultra wide? I think it's got to end up being the ultra wide because it takes less space to have the ultra wide lens than it does to have the telescoping lens that's in the telephoto or zoom lens. And I would honestly miss that telephoto lens. That being said, my current phone can't necessarily set itself up like this in kind of this L shape, set this side on the counter and then use this side to have the camera, shooting outwards. And so even though it's not going to have as good of cameras as the iPhone Pro Max, well, in theory and in my opinion, I do believe that there'll be some other interesting trade-offs that will make this very compelling for many people when it comes to using their camera. I think the next question outside of battery and camera is going to be durability. Anytime that you have something that's this impossible thin, there's a fair chance that it could be subject to bending. And honestly, harkening back to the iPhone Air that just came out, I think we've answered the question of whether it's going to bend or not. Pretty much every test that's out there and every video that I've seen has said this thing holds up to bending way better than we thought it would. So if the iPhone Air is a precursor to the iPhone Fold and the iPhone Fold really is just two iPhone Airs put together, I would say that when it comes to the device bending, that we're probably going to be in really good shape when it comes to durability in that way. But that leaves one crucial place to where it still could be very subject to problems. And that's the folding part. You know, the thing that kind of makes up the whole gimmick or idea of this device. I think that they may have figured out a way to make it so that it doesn't have a crease or as much of a crease. I think it goes without saying to say that the hinge is going to be the most vulnerable part of this device, not only from a breakability standpoint, but also from like a dust and water resistant standpoint. If you look at the other devices that are on the market with Samsung and Google, the hinge has definitely been an area of concern. In fact, the first couple models of the Samsung devices, the hinge was kind of a make or break thing. I remember a couple people and friends getting them early on, and they were so excited about it and it was so cool, and then their hinge broke very, very soon into the life cycle of their phone. And so I think that the hinge has got to be another area of focus when it comes to the reason why Apple has waited so long to enter the foldable space. So do I think that the hinge is going to be perfect? No, I don't. But I do think that it is going to be the best foldable that we have seen so far when it comes to a creaseless screen or near creaseless screen, and when it comes to the durability of the hinge. So maybe generation 1 of the iPhone Fold, not as durable as it could be, still has some opportunity, but I do think they're going to launch this device well ahead of their competitors when it comes to durability and creasability with the hinge. Overall, if anyone is going to make a foldable device work and kind of more mainstream, it's going to be Apple. I think they have a lot of great things at their fingertips that could help make the transition for most people. iPhone OS on the outside, iPadOS on the inside, a user interface that just works and it's actually fun and interesting and gives a reason for the display to fold in the first place from day one with thousands of apps that will already work in this aspect ratio, I think gives Apple a very compelling reason why this device is going to succeed. I think the biggest question that Apple is up against with the release of the iPhone Fold is the same question that Google and Samsung have been trying to figure out. Do we even need a foldable? Does this make things better? Is this more robust in some ways? Is it better for the user? Or is it just two different screens to keep charged with a battery that's always depleting? So that's my question for you. Do you think the iPhone Fold is for you? Knowing that the price might be really high and we're not really sure what it's for yet and if foldables are even relevant, do foldables still feel like a gimmick and maybe a technology that's better for things like laptops or tablets and kind of leave our phones how they are? I'd love to know more about what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Either way, regardless of what happens with this and if foldables are practical, I gotta say, this is the most excited I've been for an iPhone launch, maybe ever. Will I be lining up on day one to get one? Absolutely, I will. I'm so excited to try this out and to get a feel for it and see, what it's like and if it's any good and if it can help in many ways, but try some new, cutting edge tech and figure it out and see what the creaseless screen is like and all that stuff. I can't wait to check it out. I think the only interesting thing for me as I've made this video and learned more about the iPhone Fold is that because I use my camera so much to be able to create content, I don't think that the iPhone Fold is going to replace my iPhone Pro Max. I think it's probably going to replace my iPad. Thanks for watching. I'm BobbyInBlue, and on this channel we talk about how to get the most out of your tech. We'll see you in the next one.